I'm always intrigued to meet Ghanaians that have stayed in Nigeria, not just visit, especially someone that have stayed a number of years. I want to know their experiences. I want to know how they perceive Nigeria. I want to know what they think about Nigeria, because it's not just a visit. They have stayed, they have experienced life in Nigeria. So today I'm super excited to have a young man here that have stayed in Nigeria for almost 20 years, if not 20 years. So I cannot wait to hear what he has to say about Nigeria. I cannot wait for him to share his experiences, and I'm sure you want to know all his experiences in Nigeria. So without much wasting of time, let me introduce to you Mr. Samuel. Mr. Samuel, you're welcome to the channel.
Thank you very much.
You stayed in Nigeria for 20 years?
Yeah, roughly.
Roughly 20 years.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. How was Nigeria for you?
For me, well, I always say something that wherever you stay, the experiences are determined by the people that you surround yourself with.
Okay.
Most of the time, if the people are not so good, you discover that you have very bad experiences. But for me, luckily, even growing up from a young age, there were so many wonderful people from then. And for me, that's the main memory of Nigeria, that I had a lot of wonderful people around me, from my parents to family, friends, a lot of wonderful friends that I can never forget. And it made Nigeria a wonderful place to live. That was my number one, no matter what happened, no matter the other things, but that is my enduring memory of Nigeria, that the people I lived with were wonderful people.
Okay, that's good. You said something from your young age.
Yeah.
That means you went to Nigeria when you were really, really young. So did you do your primary school in Nigeria?
Primary school, secondary school.
First of which state did you stay?
Oh, Lagos.
This you are going to give us the main experiences,
Oh, yeah.
Lagos experience. So you did your primary school in Lagos.
Yeah, I did my primary school in Lagos.
So how was it?
Primary school was memorable. It was really good. Both my parents are teachers anyway, so school life was part of me basically, and everybody I met around me were from school, my mom's school, my dad's school.
So both your parents were teachers, and
Yeah.
both of them are Ghanaians.
Yes.
So,
But even till now, we still have a lot of Ghanaians in Nigeria, teachers especially, because for a long time there's been this notion that Ghanaians are really learned, if I'll put it that way, especially maybe with English. For a lot of them, getting the teaching jobs, if you're a teacher, it's not really a problem. Most of the time, even if you say you are a Ghanaian, they automatically assume that, in Nigeria anyway, they automatically assume that this person is good with English, is good with maths, a lot of, because even when you're writing WAEC, it's kind of different. So you have the exam that we write in Nigeria, then you see for West Africa, basically Ghana and things. And sometimes you look at their questions and you're like, wow.
okay, so you're saying that the questions they set for Ghana and the other West African countries are more difficult?
That was what we saw then anyway. I don't know other people's experiences, but when we looked at their questions, we were always like, man, these guys are trying. But I think it was when I came back to Ghana that I understood, because they do a lot of math.
In Ghana?
In Ghana, they do a lot of math, and it's not really the same thing in Nigeria.
It's not the same kind of math.
Not the same kind of math, and they are groomed with it from their secondary school, primary, or even GSS. SS, they are groomed with it. Because in Nigeria, you get to choose. But here, it's like, you have to.
So after your secondary school, you now came back to Ghana?
Not immediately. So my parents were still in Nigeria. So I tried to get into university in Nigeria.
Okay.
So I tried to get into OAU, Unilag. Unfortunately, it wasn't successful, even though I passed JAM.
What were the challenges?
JAM, you, whether you like it or not. So I did JAM about 4 times.
That's 4 years.
Yes, 4 years of your life. I did JAM the first time when I was in SS2. First experience was humbling. I went again in SS3, and I think that one I got 2 or 3 or so.
Okay.
I still couldn't get into school. Then the next one was really good. I think I got like 2 2019 or something. And that was for OAU. But unfortunately, I still couldn't get in. Even though I got to the school, I saw my name on the list, but still can't get in for some reason. And I tried for Unilag, I did that, I got a good score, but still couldn't get in. At that point, my mom was like, you know what, just go back home. And at that point, I've not been to Ghana for roughly 20 years. So, in fact, I had no memory of Ghana because from birth, like Nigeria, so I had no memory of even being here. It was like coming to a whole new country, new people, no friends, nothing. Because I lived my whole life in Nigeria. Everything I knew was Nigeria, everything I knew was in Lagos. We lived in good, not so good places in Lagos, lots of experiences.
We are going to come to those lots of experiences.
So for me, it was challenging coming back to Ghana. But the good thing was when I came, my brother had come the previous year and started school. He was even in OAU.
Sorry to cut you guys. OAU means Obafemi Awolowo University.
Exactly.
So when he's saying OAU, it's a university name.
He came a year before me, so he had settled and everything. So by the time I came, we ended up staying in the same hostel. It was out of campus anyway. By the time I started school, good people again. Your experiences are defined by the people you surround yourself with.
And ever since then, you stayed back in Ghana?
Yeah, I think of the last time I was in Nigeria was 2012.
That's a long
So
time.
that was there. So I went to visit my parents then. I think we were on holidays. I went to visit my parents, and after that, my parents came to Ghana. So it was basically, well, we're all here. And I think the only reason I'll go back is basically my friends, because there are a lot of them there, and I do miss some of them. So yeah.
Let's go back to Nigeria and your experiences in Nigeria. You know, anywhere you go to, you have both good and bad experiences. Whether you're a citizen of that country or you're an immigrant, you're going to have both good and bad. I know you had good people around you, good people surrounding you. So just share one or two not so good experiences you had in Nigeria.
Okay, so before I go to the not so good experiences, there's something I like to put up. When I was in Nigeria, everybody felt I was Ghanaian. That was understood. They all knew I was Ghanaian.
Oh, they knew you were Ghanaian
So they knew
from
I was
your
Ghanaian.
accents?
No, from my parents.
Okay.
And from me telling, because my accent was not Ghanaian. I basically grew up there, so I have that Nigerian accent sometimes when I choose to use it. But when I came to Ghana, everybody I meet thinks I'm Nigerian.
Wow.
So I'm kind of sitting on the fence because if I go to Nigeria, I'm Ghanaian. If I come to Ghana, everybody assumes I'm Nigerian. Immediately I speak. Recently, somebody that has known me for over a year, I was talking to somebody and they were like, where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from the Volta region. And then she screamed and she was like, what? You're Nigerian? I was like, no, you've known me for 1 year. How do you think I'm Nigerian?
Wow.
Like, you're Nigerian? I said, no. My parents are from the Volta region, so I'm from the Volta region. Yeah, so back to experiences. So as far as I can remember, bad experiences. So one of the worst experiences my memory can get to, I think, was a coup.
Cool.
Yeah. There's this memory where I think it was during the coup, we were just on the floor, lying down everybody, and then bullets were just flying, ripping through the wall, trees. We had this big mango tree in the house and it was just tearing it apart, and I was feeling pressed, so my mom tries to get me to the toilet. Sorry, before I get to that part, let me tell the viewers where I was living. I was staying in Ikoyi.
Okay.
So at the beginning of Ikoyi, number 1 Oxford Street, was an army headquarters. And then the end of the street, on the other side, was a police headquarters. And then not so far from us was the prison. So that day, I think I was going to use the washroom and my mom rushed me there and I was sitting on it trying to ease myself, and then the next thing I knew, the toilet exploded. Like bullets went straight through the toilet and it just exploded. So my mom just picked me up and ran straight into the room, back on the floor. It was crazy. That was one very bad experience because...
What year was that, sorry?
I don't remember. Later that day, when everything had calmed down, we went outside and it was basically just carnage, like people you know just dead on the floor.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of the worst experiences I've had because I was young, but funny enough, those images never left because I think it was a bit traumatic. So those images never left. So
It's something we never pray for
never
again.
before. So yeah. So when I hear people say, "No, go to war," and all this, I'm like, dude, you don't want that. Trust me, you don't want to see that. So yeah, that was one of the worst. I don't think anything tops that.
Okay, so now that one is a general experience, has to both Nigerians and Ghanaians experienced it. So now let's talk about you as a Ghanaian. Like you said, Nigerians in Nigeria knew that you were a Ghanaian, even if you grew up there as a child. So was there any form of segregation? People don't want to relate with you for some reasons?
Funny enough, no. I don't know other people's experiences, but for me, because of the people that were around me, and because of maybe where I stayed, I don't know if the people had a different mindset. Okay, so I stayed in 3 places. I stayed in Ikoyi, I stayed in Obudu GRA, and I stayed in Lafiaji, Okisuno specifically. And I don't think I ever felt segregated or pushed aside or anything. Everybody just called me Omogana. That was basically what they called me.
Like where they call us Omo Naija,
So it was Omogana, that's all. But at some point, even that, you just felt at home. I know a lot of Ghanaians would speak bad about Nigeria and all that. Yeah, I can't control people's experiences. Some have genuinely bad experiences, so you can't say, oh, you can't talk like that. Yeah, so I can't talk for those people because they've had bad experiences, so they would have bad things to say about Nigeria. But for me, not me, because all the places I ended up staying, I had fantastic experiences because of the people. Once again, because of the people. Funny enough, my parents were teachers. They were not rich or anything, but where we stayed, there were a lot of well-to-do people, foreigners. I think there was a lot of South Africans. Slumberger was there, their office. So just opposite there were a lot of, what do you call them, expatriates. From the beginning of the street to the end of the street, everybody knew everybody.
Themselves.
So we kind of had that community going on, and for me it felt something not African, if I'll put it that way. I don't know how other people would see it, but I tend to use that because I see a lot of these things in the movies. But funny enough, Nigerians tend to live like that. So I haven't grown up in Ghana and I haven't seen that. So it's where I grew up that I talk about. So there, we all knew, everybody knew everybody. My parents could travel to Ghana and then leave us with the next door neighbor. They knew that we were safe, we were good. And they'll take care of us and they are traveling to the US and they'll leave their kids with us. So we left Ikoyi because of then, I think, Abacha, the military rule and all that. One day they just came and took the land from where we're staying, the owner of the house. They just told him to vacate the premises, the military had taken over. And that was that. There's no argument, you just go, if not. So we left, that was during Abacha's time, so we left. And I think from there we moved to Obudu. We stayed with a family friend there for a couple of years. Obudu was good. And not so good. I think that was the first place, twice actually there, we're almost robbed. So armed robbers came to the house, but luckily enough, the owner of the house was a Navy personnel, so we shot a few of them. And that was twice anyway, it happened twice, but nothing really happened. It was just that we lived our life there until we were leaving there. From there, we moved to the island. So the island is Lagos Island. We moved to the island and we stayed at Okisuno. It was a learning experience. It was good growing up. It was good for us because Lagos Island will teach you a lot of things. There were a lot of fights, street fights, this street versus that street, police operations, sweep, weird stuff, but it teaches you to be strong. And if you are going to Lagos especially, fair warning, everything goes like 100 kilometers an hour. Everybody is going fast. So you can't just be standing around. Everybody is just moving. There's nothing slow about Lagos. If you think truck drivers are bad, you need to see downfall drivers. It's like 20 times worse. Those guys are insane, like mad. So everything is high speed in Lagos. Everything is moving. If you slack, you get left behind. That's the truth. So Okisuno was a good experience because it taught, especially me and my brother, taught us a lot of things. Teach you how to fight for yourself, fight against people.
Wow.
You will learn. that's the thing, because if you don't learn, obviously somebody can take advantage of you. So you learn a lot of lessons there, good lessons anyway, but there are a lot of vices there too, bad things. So you need to have a level head. If not, you take up all those things. So again, like I said, the people that are around you can define your experience in a lot of places. And it happened there too, because we had a lot of fantastic people, especially in the compound. I'll never forget that compound, one or two kids, fantastic. The boys were awesome. And if any one of us got into trouble, everybody was coming to fight. There was a day I went to watch Chelsea versus Arsenal, and they all, just like Ghana, you gathered at the viewing center and you're watching, and we went to watch. I think Chelsea beat Arsenal also, and then I was haggling somebody, and the next thing I knew, the guy pushed me. I was on the floor. Before I could get up and say I want to fight, I didn't even know where the boys just came from. Everybody just came out and then started pushing the guy, and the guy left. And the next day he came back from his area with boys that they were coming to fight, they were coming to beat me. So somebody was downstairs, where West End was a block of flats. So one of the guys was at the gate. They used to call him Biggie. He was very big. And they got there and they started pushing him, and they were looking for me, and I came downstairs. My brother came downstairs. And when everybody started hearing the commotion, they just started, hey, they are here. And before I knew it, the boys,
They were out.
oh my God. And when everybody in that house comes out, it's like a small army. By the time they all came out, it was a mess. For me, Lagos was crazy. There were a lot of things that happened. I hear a lot of people's stories, and I'm like, wow. Well, I'm thankful that I didn't experience what some people did, but like I said, the people you surround yourself with. A lot of people taught me lessons, so you don't get swindled, you don't get shortchanged. I was telling somebody recently, and they didn't believe me. The first place I actually got successfully robbed was in Ghana, not in Nigeria. I think I was going to the office early in the morning. I just came downstairs and I came out, and then two guys on bikes just came, pointed a pistol at my head, and I was like, drop your bag. And I was holding the bag because I was by the roadside, imagining it was Lagos, because Lagos, and cars were actually driving past. Lagos, somebody just, cleared the hell out of these guys once they see a gun. So I was just standing there hoping, like, drop your bag. And the funny thing was, like, cars came and started stopping on both sides of the roads, until I was like, look, nobody's coming to help, so I can't risk my life over a laptop and stuff. So I just handed it, and they actually turned, they gave them space, they turned and drove off on the bike. And then people came out, oh, sorry. I was like, people serious right now, but you can't blame them, you can't risk your life for.
Oh yeah, for some.
It's just a laptop, so it wasn't really a big deal. Like, funny enough, that was my funny story, that the first place I actually got robbed successfully was here in Ghana. People don't seem to believe that I stayed in Nigeria for 20 years, but wow.
I thank God for the people that you met or you stayed with when you were in Nigeria. At least they helped shape your life, because most of those places that you're talking about, children come out of those places very wild.
Yeah.
Children come out from those places spoiled, and they involve themselves in some certain vices that end up wasting their lives. So we are grateful to God that you came out strong. You came out learning lessons, right? So now let's talk about you coming to Ghana for your tertiary institution, and then you did your primary, your secondary in Nigeria. What were some of your challenges?
Math.
Okay.
In Nigeria, obviously, in my head, I was a smart student. I got good grades and all that. I did science, and I came to Ghana and started university. And they bring some courses, and I'm like, what in the name of God is going on here? And they're like, you're supposed to know this. You did it in SS. I'm like, no, I didn't know this in SS. And all the Nigerians were like, we didn't do this. They're like, which schools did you go to? These are normal things you do in SS. I'm like, sorry, but we did not do this. And they're like, well, we can't go back and start, so you guys have to. After my first year, then things became a little bit easier, and then you start to understand. And then I think one of the biggest challenges I had when I came to Ghana was food.
Okay.
I was so used to Nigeria, so used to the food. But when I came to Ghana, I was like, even the rice is different.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is, that even rice that we all take Nigerian. So Nigerian rice is big,
The grains are
The
bigger.
grains are very big. Not even bigger, they are very big. It's like 3 times the size of the Ghanaian grains. So they are big and they are not scented. So it's basically just rice. But Ghana rice now, there's the smell and all those things. So when I came, I'm like, oh yeah, well. So one of the major things I survived on was rice and wachi. Wachi we used to, because mom used to make it at home in Nigeria. And then baby kinky. But after that, I was so confused. Like, even till now, if some people see me eating fufu, they're like, you really don't know how to eat fufu? I'm like, yeah, well.
But you like fufu?
Of course, there's plenty meat. Nigeria.
I didn't say that Nigeria was not.
We love meat. So anything that has plenty meat, we are going for it. No problem. No problems at all. So once there's plenty meat, we are there. We don't care what it is, we'll try and eat it. The meat has to be there. So the fufu, till now, if you see me eating fufu, you will laugh because it's very confusing for me. I don't know, they say there's this skill they use in scissor cutting it, I don't know, but yeah, I tend to
do it like ever.
Even worse than that. So everybody just laughs, I don't care, but that's how it is. So the food in Nigeria, most of the time, what you may call soup is a bit different from what they may call soup
in Ghana.
Because we'll say egusi soup. Ghanaians will say egusi stew because it looks, in Ghana, the soup has to be watery. Yeah, but in Nigeria, so the soups are not watery. It's filled with vegetables and different kind of condiments of meat, fish, periwinkle, strange things, all that is just packed with everything. So there's not even space for water. I think the first day, my brother said he was going to buy food, but I was like, what's he going to buy? I said, oh, let's go downstairs. So our hostel was around Kaneshi. My brother went to Central University, I went to Regent. So it was around Kaneshi. And Kaneshi, everywhere is food. Kaneshi is basically almost like somewhere in Lagos, maybe like Obalende or Oshodi or something. Yes. It's always alive, even if you get there at 3 a.m. There are people, food. So we go down there and then he takes me to some lady selling. And all I see is these 2 big pots boiling liquid. I'm like, okay. It's like, oh, you can take banku with maybe palm nut soup. And I know palm nut soup from Nigeria because my mom makes it. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking palm nut soup. So I was like, oh, so there's groundnut soup and other things you can try. I'm like, is everything watery? Because all the things you are calling, I like to eat it with eba because it will soak. But the banku is just like you put it in and everything falls off it. So you have to either scoop or something. So I'm like, is there anything? I was like, no, this is it unless you want rice or wachi or kinki. I'm like, okay. So the first few months, I struggled with the food because, man, I was still looking for Nigerian food. I want to eat edikaikon, I want to eat pounded yam, but those are not so easy to come by and a bit expensive when you find them. So food, trust me, food was a struggle the first time. Food was a big, big problem. But after that, I think I got used to it. Even till now, I still kind of prefer Nigerian food most of the time. I take it as something special, so once in a while I go find where I can get it and eat. But yeah, so now fully integrated into Ghanaian food. I still wish to try some of them because you go to some places and then you hear something new.
Yeah. And
then you have to try it. Me, I love food. That's the good thing about it. So I always try something new. No matter where I find myself. So yeah.
That's good. That's good. So you're done with your university and then you're now working in Ghana.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. What are you doing currently in Ghana?
I normally tell young people anyway nowadays that I'm not saying young people like I'm an old man, but the younger people that are now going to SS, going to university, that when you finish, you can't just do one thing. You try and diversify, you split yourself into this, and that's basically what I do. So mainly I'm a back-end developer. I build backends for websites. I work with a company that we build websites. So if you need your websites, you can get my number, you can call. I also basically have a company or work with a company that we do early construction installation. So things like CCTVs, air conditioners, wiring of your new construction building. Yeah, we do that as well. Then I also work with, just started working with a gas company. So if your company needs gas, if your company needs cooking gas, LPG, in substantial amounts, yeah, we can get that for you too. And I also sell laptops, so if you want laptops, your kids want laptops for school, you can get at very good prices. So, yeah.
Interesting. That means you studied something related to IT?
Yeah. So I did computer science in school. Yeah, but that doesn't, for me, I keep telling people, don't limit yourself to what you did in school, because school is great. I spoke to somebody recently and he gave me something that I've taken as a word to go. School is great for the paper. You get your degrees and all those things. Good for that, and it's good for the experience, meeting most of the people you would work with after university, maybe people you met in university. So it's a good place to network and all those things there. But it's not the end of the world. Don't just do, I've gone to school and this is what I picked up. Most of the times, most of the things you will use after school, you don't learn in school. You get to learn as much as you can from other sources. I don't think right now I'm using anything that I learned in school. Like I said, good friends again, people you surround yourself with. When we're in school, we were always going above and beyond. We wanted to do something. We wanted to have a company together. We wanted to do something after school. So even right in school, we started our first company and we started working together. And because we had started building websites, we had to learn. They will teach you the basics in school, but not something that you can use professionally.
Yeah.
Because you can't go and use what you used as your first project in school and say you're selling it to a company. It's like, what's this? So you have to go above. So we're on YouTube, scouring the internet, we're in the library, connecting our laptops to whatever. Sometimes they used to come and complain because we basically siphon all the speed of the internet because we are using it in the library. And they used to call us hackers and all that. But yeah, we were basically hackers in school because we could just take the internet for ourselves and let everybody else suffer. So yeah, so you don't learn everything in school, just how to think and how to maybe do research and all that. But what you use after school, trust me, if you don't learn for yourself, you'll be left behind because the world is moving so fast.
Before I ask you my last question, I would want you to give out your number just in case people are in need of your services, they can reach out to you.
Okay, so my number is 024-09 39977. So you can call, you can WhatsApp, anyone, I'll definitely respond to you.
Okay, that's fine. So my last question to you is this. I wanted to say something to Nigerians that are in Ghana and Ghanaians that have never visited Nigeria before, but they have a perception about Nigeria. They have a notion about Nigeria, all Nigerians. And then to Nigerians that are in Ghana and are in one way or the other living their life in a way that it is affecting the good Nigerians out there, I wanted to say something to them because you have been in Nigeria, you have stayed in Nigeria, you've also stayed in Ghana. You know the characters of Nigerians more than the Ghanaians that have never been to Nigeria before. So I wanted to say something to them.
So the Nigerians living in Ghana, accord yourself right, because I've never met Nigerians living in Ghana who are just terrible people, by the way. Sorry to say that, but yeah, it's the truth. And I've also met people who are amazing people. And to the Nigerians who are the amazing people, take responsibility. There are things you can do to help those ones, or at least to control those ones who are unruly, so that everybody doesn't get bumped together in the same Nigerians are bad. Talk to your other friends, speak to them, let them know what they are doing is costing them integrity, is costing them business, is costing them goodwill. Because you cannot go to another country and then suddenly become a bad person. Because sometimes, trust me, you do that in Nigeria and people beat you. So that's how it is. So don't bring bad behavior to another country. And there are amazing Nigerians living in Ghana. I've met a lot of them. So yeah, that's the truth about life. There's nowhere you will go to and you will only meet good people. There are always bad people too. Nigerians, there are Ghanaians who are living in Nigeria with no problems. But there are also Ghanaians living in Nigeria who cause problems. That's the thing. Nigeria, I keep saying, everybody talks about Nigeria because of the size. If Nigeria was the size of Ghana, we won't really hear anything about Nigeria. But because of the size of the population, you cannot have 300 million people and all 300 million people will be living in that land, even though it's big. They are going to spread around the world, and then those bad eggs will cause damage. And because there are a lot, that name will keep on spreading. Oh, they're Nigerians, there's a bad egg everywhere. There are bad Ghanaians in the US, there are bad South Africans in the US, there are bad South Africans in Canada, there are bad everything. There are bad Nigerians even in Alaska, there are bad everything. There's somebody bad from every country somewhere. Nobody is all good people. So for me, I don't classify people based on what country they are coming from. I classify people based on the people, you, the personality. I mean, if you're a bad person, I'm not going to say Nigerians are bad. I'm going to say you are a bad person. Because I've met you. I've not met all Nigerians. I can't come and say, oh, all Ghanaians are bad. How? I don't know all Ghanaians. I only know those people I've met or those people I've had the opportunity to interact with. If Africa is ever going to be anything good, Africans need to work together, because there's no way Africa will be great if Africans fight Africans. If Nigeria is at war, the rest of Africa won't have peace. Is that because 300 million people have to go somewhere? So as much as we have our differences and all that, let's try and live together, because I hear a lot of people, oh, Nigerians, let's chase them away. There are also Ghanaians living in Nigeria. If you start chasing them away and they start chasing the Ghanaians back, do you have jobs for those Ghanaians who are coming from Nigeria? And it may not look like a lot, but we are not a big population. If all those people in Nigeria come back, that's a lot. So we cannot wish wrong on people. If they are bad eggs, by all means, you expose the bad eggs and get them, let the law deal with them, let them be sent back and all that. Yeah, a lot of people become destitute because all of a sudden your livelihood in another country has been ripped apart and you've been thrown back home with nothing. Africa can be great. I still have that belief. I know a lot of people are running away, but look, we can't let our future just die. You have to fight for Africa. You have to fight for things to get better. You have to fight, and part of the ways of fighting is by improving yourself. Now imagine if we had 1,000 people who have dedicated themselves to know, I'm going to make myself better, I'm going to build something sensible, I'm going to build something that can change the narrative, I'm going to do something different. And you decide to start affecting the younger ones. A lot of people now we just allow to waste away. I see kids on TikTok just scrolling through nonsense. And we don't control that, but yet we want better things for our country. These kids are one day, they are going to be leaders. And what do they know? TikTok is killing their minds, the internet. But conversely, there's so much to learn on the internet.
Yeah.
But we allow them access. I see parents who just throw their phones to their kids. Do you know what they are watching? Are you protecting your phone from them not seeing things that are weird or things? The world is full of nasty things now. So we have our own responsibility, not as Ghanaians, not as Nigerians, not as Togolese, Ivory Coast, South Africans, no. We have a responsibility as Africans. If we do not build Africa, nobody is coming to build it for you. And you may travel as much as you want, but the world is a nasty place, a dangerous place. The world is getting into dangerous times. When something hits the roof, you would come back home because there's nowhere else to run to. That's the only way that Africa can be great, if we build it one person at a time. So let's do our best. If you know something, try and mentor a kid, teach them something. You have your churches, your mosques, wherever you go to, there's a young person there. Hold on to them and say, you know what, I know how to do this. I want to teach you. So yeah, that's what I'll leave you with. Thank you very much. And thank you, BEFE, for having me on the channel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, for coming on the channel. I think you went beyond what I was expecting as to what Ghanaians, Nigerians, Africans should take home. Thank you so much
God bless
for
you.
gracing the channel. I pray my people contact you for business. You know, we should do business together. So thank you so much for coming on the channel. I really appreciate it. God bless you. I pray the Lord increases you, even your business. Whatsoever you touch, the Lord blesses it in Jesus' name. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you were able to take one or two home. I don't need to talk too much. Mr. Samuel has said everything. So thank you so much for watching. Please do also subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. And until we see next time, like I always say, do not forget to always smile because you're beautiful when you do. Bye.